Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's September 1st, 2023, and we are in the Old Testament book of 1 Samuel. We're going to read chapter 19. All right, so Saul is continuing his descent into godlessness and perhaps insanity, jealousy, jealous rage. It's gotten to the point when we take up the narrative here that everybody can see it now. It's not, not a hidden thing. People can't pretend that they're not seeing it. They're seeing that for some reason Saul wants to kill David, and they can't really understand it. In fact, Jonathan comes to him and tries to talk some sense into him and say, hey, you know what, David's your most loyal subject. All the success David has, you're the king. It's your success. That's what you should be seeing. So again, we see how Jonathan really understands the role of the king and is quite content that David should be the next king, because David's doing what should be done, and so is Jonathan by saying, hey, you know what, God wants a good leader. You're a good leader. You should lead. You're doing what's right for the people. I want what's right for the people. Saul, on the other hand, again, more and more jealous. Every time David has a success, he doesn't see it as one of his subjects having a success for him. He sees it as David trying to usurp him and drive him out of the kingship that he didn't really want when we started all of this, which is kind of ironic. When Jonathan confronts Saul, Saul kind of sees, I don't know, a moment of clarity that he sees he's wrong, but he vows to God and says, I am not going to kill him, and he actually takes Yahweh's name. So we now see Saul outright reject God by swearing that to him that he's not trying to kill David, and then in the very next section he's right back to trying to kill David again. So Saul's descent is pretty much rock bottom. He's still got a little bit further to go, but not very much. David has no choice but to flee. He flees. Saul pursues him. David runs to Samuel for protection, and Saul finds him and chases him there. And that's about where this ends. And it ends with a really interesting little paragraph of Saul actually stripping off his clothes and prophesying. I'm not sure if it means that he actually stripped down naked to absolutely wearing nothing. I think it's more that he took off all of his kingly garments and his kingly robes and discarded them. So he's actually physically doing what we've seen him actually spiritually doing all through this way. It says he comes before Samuel, but a few chapters ago we saw that Samuel left Saul and we were told he never saw him again. So how is this possible? I would say combine that with the stripping off all his robes, that he never sees Saul as king again. Now he sees him as that little donkey shepherd boy who is not wearing anything fancy, chasing after his donkeys, but he ended up prophesying. So we're kind of getting a call back to that, and like I said, we're seeing that Saul has pretty much hit rock bottom at this point. So let's go ahead and we're going to read 1 Samuel chapter 19. Now Saul spoke to Jonathan his son and to all his servants so that they should kill David. But Jonathan, Saul's son, delighted greatly in David. So Jonathan told David, saying, my father Saul seeks to kill you. Therefore please be on your guard until morning and stay in a secret place and hide. And I will go out and stand beside my father in the field where you are, and I will speak with my father about you. Then what I observe I will tell you. Thus Jonathan spoke well of David to Saul his father, and said to him, let not the king sin against his servant, against David, because he has not sinned against you, and because his works have been very good toward you. For he took his life in his hands and killed the Philistine, and the Lord brought about a great deliverance for all Israel. You saw it and rejoiced. Why then will you sin against innocent blood to kill David without a cause? So Saul heeded the voice of Jonathan, and Saul swore, as the Lord lives, he shall not be killed. Then Jonathan called David, and Jonathan told him all these things. So Jonathan brought David to Saul, and he was in his presence as in times past. And there was war again, and David went out and fought with the Philistines, and struck them with a mighty blow, and they fled from him. Now the distressing spirit from the Lord came upon Saul, as he sat in the house with his spear in his hand, and David was playing music with his hand. Then Saul sought to pin David to the wall with the spear, but he slipped away from Saul's presence, and he drove the spear into the wall. So David fled and escaped that night. Saul also sent messengers to David's house to watch him and to kill him in the morning. And Michal, David's wife, told him, saying, if you do not have your life tonight, tomorrow you'll be killed. So Michal let David down through a window, and he went and fled and escaped. Michal took an image and laid it in the bed, put a cover of goat's hair for his head, and covered it with clothes. So when Saul sent messengers to David, she said, "He is sick." Then Saul sent the messengers back to see David, saying, "Bring him up to me in the bed, that I may kill him." And when the messengers had come in, there was the image in the bed with a cover of goat's hair for his head. Then Saul said to Michal, "Why have you deceived me like this, and sent my enemy away so that he has escaped?" Michal answered Saul, "He said to me, 'Let me go. Why should I kill you?'" So David fled and escaped and went to Samuel at Ramah and told him all that Saul had done to him. And he and Samuel went and stayed in Neioth. We're going to say Naioth. How about that? And he and Samuel went and stayed in Naioth. Now it was told Saul, saying, "Take note, David is at Naioth in Ramah." Then Saul sent messengers to take David. And when they saw the group of prophets prophesying and Samuel standing as leader over them, the Spirit of God came upon the messengers of Saul, and they also prophesied. And when Saul was told, he sent other messengers, and they prophesied likewise. Then Saul sent messengers again the third time, and they prophesied also. Then he also went to Ramah and came to the great well that is at Sesho. So he asked and said, "Where are Samuel and David?" Then someone said, "Indeed, they are at Naioth in Ramah." So he went there to Naioth in Ramah. Then the Spirit of God was upon him also, and he went on and prophesied until he came to Naioth in Ramah. And he also stripped up his clothes and prophesied before Samuel in like manner, and lay down naked all that day and all that night. Therefore they say, "Is Saul also among the prophets?" May God bless the reading of his word, and may God bless you. Bye.